Will it stay? That's the question. Because we're gonna go to the floor.
I have to work on am I gonna get up?
I know you
On
do.
the floor.
I know. I knew that would be part of it. All right. Great. All right. But let's start here since we're here. And I think that some of the props we have will be really useful. With Pilates, there's a little different emphasis. There's a lot about firming up belly. So belly here, there's a little drawing in of the belly. A lot of it's training you to use those belly muscles. So we get to do a Pilates workout with Cathy Sachs. Forget the yoga. New territory.
I hope I haven't hurt your feelings because you're such a good yoga teacher. Can you cope?
Barely, but I think we'll persevere. I'm joking. I'm delighted to work with you with Pilates. I've come to really love Pilates.
And you think this is a good?
I think it's great.
Okay.
And you're ready because Cathy, your vigor you're doing so well. So now you want to challenge yourself to stabilize more so that you can walk and dance and run and travel and do all the things you want to do. So I'm going to turn sideways so you sort of see what I'm talking about. The first thing that you work with is using the breath to, the light's not that good, but when you blow out, generally the deepest sheath of core muscles right here that also wraps here draws inward. So if I do a pronounced exhale, the belly draws in. And then it sort of billows out. But with conscious control, you can actually, if you need it, you can keep this stabilized and firm. We'll work with it a little bit more when we go to the mat. With the exhale, there's also a slight tip of the pelvis back. I call it dialing the pelvis up or into a posterior tip. And then letting the pelvis go forward. So it's a little bit like a cat-cow. You use your hip points to sort of tip them up and back. So it's a rocking of the pelvis. So like I said, it's like cat-cow. So it's a rocking back and forward of the pelvis. Does that mean, and you can join me. You can, below the belly button scoops back. The pelvis tips back and there's a flattening of the back, trying to use these muscles to do that. And then inhale here. The muscles we're talking about go from the bottom front rib to the hip point. They go to the pubic bone around here. They also sort of cinch along the sides. So I'm gonna go this way. So a tip back using these muscles. My back sort of flattens, but not completely. And then I release to a natural curve. On the exhale, I tip back using this sheath of muscles, and it should lengthen the back, and I hope it'll feel good for you.
Yeah, I'm trying to do it.
Yeah. Here, may I?
Yeah.
Yeah. So find your hip points.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's the top of the pelvis is here, and you walk to the very front points that kind of poke forward, and then the pelvis dives down. So it's my top of my pelvis is here. May I? Yeah, there's the top of your pelvis, and then yeah, your hip points are right there. Now, it's a firming up here, so that stripe goes inward. Yeah, just like that, and that changed the shape of your pelvis. Inhale, release, and then exhale, that stripe goes in right below the belly button. Yeah, and inhale, release.
Okay.
And you're tipping the pelvis slightly by using that deep sheath of muscles.
Okay.
We'll keep going. With that deep sheath of muscles engaged, it gives you more strength to articulate the leg and lift it up and back down. So exhale, the stripe goes in, your stripe goes in, and you can march the leg up. Inhale, put it down. There's a little softening, but then you want to lift and firm up and place it down. Firm up and march and place it back down. So all of this helps to brace, basically, or stabilize. You're using that little bit of, they call it pelvic imprint. And then if we were on our backs, we would actually be doing this with our legs in the air. Yeah. And then we're gonna go one more march to each side. And this is actually a better way to sort of start telling you about some of the basic principles while you can see me. The next piece, which will be helpful to you, again, I'm gonna turn sideways.
I thought I would tell you what this feels like.
Oh, yeah.
To me. Back here, once I get up and going, I have like a lot of spasm, and it's hot. So is there some inflammation, whatever. It's just really bothering me. It's in the back, and it comes down my leg.
Yeah, and show me on the back again. Yeah, that band. So it's all the muscles of the lower back that also connect into the legs. So I think Pilates,
sometimes down here.
so it's here
Yeah.
and here.
Yes.
And then sometimes it affects the front of the
and
thighs.
sometimes it feels like my belly feels hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like that Pilates will be good for you in that this muscle, so it sounds like, I'm not diagnosing,
Yeah.
you know, but it sounds like the muscles here and here are overworking, and Pilates gives you the ability to sort of start toning the low abdominals, which have really a lot of ability to help support the back and the outside of the thigh. And then, and appropriately use auxiliary. So it starts there.
Okay.
It starts here.
All right.
There's sort of three sheaths of muscles in the abdominal cavity. The deepest sheath goes from, it wraps like a corset around to the bottom ribs. So it's pubic bone, front of the hips to the sides, wraps into the spine and then comes around. So here, but there's also some muscles here.
Okay.
And then there's the rectus six-pack abdominals that's on the top that sort of helps you curl like this. But it's the deepest sheath, the transverse abdominis. If you also squeeze the knees together, that also helps firm up that muscle. So if you squeeze the legs towards each other isometrically, that helps to firm this belly up. And there's also a lift of the pelvic hammock, the pelvic floor, and the doming up of that pelvic floor will help tone the muscle right here, which directly relates to muscles through here. Because if I've got, I need support here, this muscle is going to really help. There's some other pieces about rib cage placement and where the ribs are. You know, for example, if my ribs go in, these muscles, these ribs, the rib cage, you know, it's a circle, it may go out, but also the shoulder blades influence all of that too, in terms of where they are. So Pilates tries to strengthen here, muscles that support the rib cage, the shoulder blades that they use, that they're strong where it's appropriate for them to be strong, so they don't, you know, this culture, we do so much that our shoulder blades and upper back tend to round. It's just, and that we do a lot in front of us, and you're sort of learning to push away and slide the shoulder blades back. I'm trying to think of, those are the basics to start working with And I think what we'll do is we'll come to the floor.
Okay.
Your back is gonna be a lot more comfortable if we've done this before, if we use a blanket. We can put one or two, and then what we've done before is we've had your head on a block. I'll do the same for you over there, yeah. Bring the, you can take the chair to the bottom or to the top, whichever side you want to come down to, yeah.
Like this?
Yeah, and do you want your head down here?
That's fine.
Okay. And is this enough padding, or do you think so to lay on your back, do you think another blanket will be nice?
I think that'll be okay.
Okay. All right. Now, I'll take the block away and then have you come down and put your head here.
Okay, so no block for now?
Well, I'll bring you, what I'm thinking is, do you want to use the chair to come down? You do not have to.
I might need it to come back up.
Okay, then let's. So you're coming all the way down onto your back, and I will offer you a block under your head when you get there. Let me scoot that so it's centered. Yes, okay, yeah. And I'm gonna sit over here. While you're here, we're gonna play with the tip of the pelvis and the breath, and then firming up the abdominal muscles just like you just did. Is the head comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
All right, is your back comfortable?
Yeah.
All right. Exhale deeply through pursed lips, so it's really an exaggerated, sounded long. Yeah, and I can see your belly starting to engage. And then inhale, just breathe deeply. And then exhale, and it's not, great. So I see all of your stripes moving, that's great. Now, with conscious control, you're gonna exhale and keep the belly firmed up. Stay there for a breath and move the breath more through the chest. So you're still breathing, you still inhale.
Inhaling?
Yeah, but you're trying to keep the belly firmed up, because in a moment we're gonna challenge the belly by bringing the legs up. Because I don't want your pelvis to move. I want your pelvis to stay still, so by drawing the abdominal muscles in pretty strongly, and this right through here is firm, but you're gonna have to breathe through the chest, the upper stripes, the thin stripes. Okay, and then so do you sense that you through conscious control can keep the low belly toned if you choose to?
You mean hold it where it is?
Mm-hmm.
I think so.
Okay.
I'll have to see, And
I'm gonna give you one more piece. Just for a moment, tune into the pelvic floor, which means the hammock of the pelvic floor from the pubic bone to the anus. Squeeze the block and see if you feel the pelvic floor sort of draw upwards. Do you get what I mean?
Where is the pelvic floor?
From the pubic bone to the anus.
Okay. So
So
what am I trying to do?
Squeeze the block and see if you feel that hammock of muscles rise up.
I feel it in here.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay.
Okay, and then you can, we'll use the block for a moment. Exhale deeply and keep the belly firm, and even on the inhale, keep it firm. So the belly stays firm, and on the second, so you inhale, but keeping the belly firm, squeeze the block, and then on the next exhale, firm up even more. And you can squeeze the block a little more firmly. And then on the next inhale, just release the belly, the block too. You can let go of the block too.
Okay.
Because I think you got the adduction, the movement of the thighs towards each other helps with that. You felt it exactly where you want to. Where you felt those muscles is what I want you to turn on firmly, so the pelvis doesn't move as you lift a leg. So it'll be, and I know I'm not really in your vision, but it's gonna be, exhale, I'm gonna use my hand so you can sort of see me. Exhale, firmly firming up this muscle, the sheath. And with that firm, I can bring a leg up and my pelvis doesn't move, my lower back doesn't change. And on the next exhale,
I'm gonna firm up even more to bring the other leg to tabletop. So it's sort of like a, if you've ever done bird dog, we're just doing the legs up so the feet come off the floor. And then we'll play with tipping the feet one at a time towards the floor. Not that fast. Okay, so firm up on your next exhale, firm up those stripes and bring that back, that low abdominal right above the pubic bone into your awareness, and bring the right foot off the floor. Stay for the inhale, exhale, and tone the belly, lift the pelvic floor, and the left leg foot comes off the floor. Stay for the inhale, and then tap, not all the way to the floor, the right foot towards the floor. There's the exhale, so you can firm up the belly as you tap the foot towards the floor, and then bring it back up on the inhale. Exhale, firm up the belly, and then the left foot goes towards the floor. Inhale, back up. And keep that pattern going. So it's like a little march. Use the exhale to march the right foot towards the floor. And on the inhale, bring it back up. And the left foot to the floor. And bring it back up. And now one more time to each side. Great, Cathy. And then now slide the foot out a little bit, not all the way straight, but just slide it out like a bicycle and bring it back in, knee back in. And then the other foot, slide it out and firm up the belly, so yep, and then bring it back in. And keep that sliding of the feet out a few times. Right, and bring it back in. Left, and bring it back in. Right. Use the exhale to extend the foot. Inhale to bring it back in. And we'll go one more time on each side. Great. And then both feet to the floor. How's that in terms of tuning in and toning the lower abs? It is work.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah, it's all right.
I would see it would be advantageous to work with a bridge, but I'm going to give you I'm going to bring the block back, but when you do a roll, I want to bring your head down just a little bit. So I'm going to give you this. So I'm sliding the block out and bringing the lower elevation, and your head's there. Yeah. Now, I want you to bend the elbows with the hands, the fingers at the ceiling, the palms are facing each other. Press the elbows down and the upper shoulders down so that the upper back is pretty firm. So the upper arms are pressing into the ground. Great, because you feel how the shoulder blades kind of firm up. Are your feet a comfortable distance from your butt?
Yeah.
Okay, and then press the heels and tip the tail off the ground. We'll do this 4 times. So it's just a slight raise of the tail. And then roll back down so you're sort of rolling through the spine. Inhale to stay. Exhale, there's a little scoop of the belly, and then roll up a little higher along the spine. And then roll back down. On the exhale, go ahead and roll up a little higher. This is the 3rd time. Roll back down. And then the 4th time. Roll up as high as you feel comfortable, the upper arms pressing into the ground so you're nice and stable through the upper back, and then roll all the way down.
Was there 4?
That was 4. If all goes well, we'll do a couple of bridges that are more of a hinge up, but that was like an articulation warming up. I'm bringing the block back under your head. You ready? Okay. Now, we were aiming at, and you felt it, the low abdominals right below the belly button, above the pubic bone. But there's also some, if you take your hands, if you point at your belly button with your thumb, with your pointers, and then you slide your hands to the lowest bottom rib, under the lowest bottom rib, right here, this stripe, there are some muscles that you can ask to tone up as you come to a flexed up position. But first, I wanted to add, before we ask those muscles to tone up, the placement of the head is really important.
Okay.
Because if you're looking up, when you try to flex up, it's a lot of weight too much weight really, for the abdominal muscles to manage. So what you want to do is you want to nod the head so that without picking it up, your eyes go towards the windows. And that's the beginning of flexion of the spine. Part of what I want you to do before we get going, as we get going, is to reach for the back of the calves. So when we flex up, your arms being pretty straight and long will help the shoulder blades tell the back, I need you firm to stabilize. But it's the abdominals right below the rib cage that will help you with this movement. We're gonna do it 5 times. We're gonna do it with the breath pattern. It'll be, don't do it yet. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale to roll up and reach for the back of the calves. You'll be looking towards the windows even more. Stay for the inhale and roll down on the exhale. Okay, so it's a lot. Don't worry about it. There's lots of cueing. It sort of helps slow you down so you have some endurance, you have a hold and not just a rubber band sitting up and down like people used to do with sit-ups. Okay. Inhale to nod the head only. So you kind of look that way without picking up the head. Exhale, now you try to move the ribs toward the hip points, and that is when you sort of flex up into a seated position and reach for your calves.
So
Here, I'll show you.
okay.
Inhale, I'm just gonna nod the head. That's the beginning of flexion of the spine. Exhale, I'm gonna move the bottom ribs towards the hip points, wrinkling fabric here and stretch my hands towards my calves. I'm gonna stay for the inhale, keeping this, especially this, toned. And then exhale, roll, uncurl the spine, and the gaze then goes back high. So there is some neck head stuff. If you need a little more support, you can take one hand behind the head. It's not pulling the head. It's to flex up with the hand behind the head just to give you a little more support, but you're aiming for these muscles right below the rib cage to be the prime movers. And this is still the low abdominals below the belly button are still firm. Does that make sense? Yes. It's a lot of cueing, and the Pilates is trying to get you to use the breath to really firm up the abdominals. And it's slower than just the sit-ups we used to do. How fast can you do 100 sit-ups? That's not so good for the back. But turning on the abdominals is. So all your stripes, I want all this area right below the bottom rib to the hip point to wrinkle. That's what you're focusing on. Ready? 5 times.
Okay,
With that strange long breath pattern. Inhale to nod the head. So it's simply nodding the head, looking towards the windows. Exhale, move the bottom ribs towards the hip points and reach for the back of the calves and flex up. Here, you leave your feet down with this one.
So how do
You flex, upper back is up.
But you said the calves, reach for the calves.
Reach for the calves, I'm reaching
gotcha.
for the calf. Oh, I see. Yeah, this is one, yeah, that is one way to reach for the calves, but that's the calves moving to the hands. The hands are gonna reach for the calves. But it makes me laugh because Pilates, I say things and there really are like several different interpretations of ways you could do it. And people do, like in the Pilates studio, I want the legs to go down on a low 45 degrees above the floor. And so I say a low diagonal, and I look out and people's feet are supposed to be going toward the window, and they're taking them on a diagonal to the side. I'm like, no, no. That is an interpretation of diagonal. So it just makes me laugh. All right. Feet stay on the floor. Gotcha. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale to move those bottom ribs down and flex up. Leave the feet on the floor and reach for your calves. Stay for the inhale and then roll back down. Now, you didn't flex up. I know. What do you mean, Garden?
Yeah.
Flexing up means you're rounding the upper back up and looking over. It's like a sit-up. Think sit-up, but just
Okay.
not moving, except for slowly with the breath. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale, now sit up. It's a sit-up, so you roll up.
Is that right? No.
I need you, so you're gonna have to look this way. Watch my shoulders and upper back, but it's abs that are doing this. My bottom ribs are here. I'm gonna inhale, nod the head, and then exhale, my bottom ribs do the moving, which makes it a little different than the sit-ups I used to do. And then I'm gonna flex up into a
So do
sit-up.
that. Okay.
Do that. And then roll back down. But it's trying to be much more conscientious than we were when we used to do sit-ups as kids. Okay. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale to roll up to a flexed up position. Look at the windows. Yeah? You're looking for all this to be wrinkled. Keep breathing. Inhale here, but keep this firm, and then roll back down on the exhale. The sounded exhale will help you breathe. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale to roll up into a flexed up position, wrinkling, firming up the abdominals. Stay for the inhale and then roll down on the exhale. Inhale to nod the head. Exhale to flex up. You can reach for your calves actively with your hands if you want. The calves being here.
I thought I wasn't supposed to move there.
But you're not supposed to pick up the feet.
Oh, then I can't.
You can't actually get there. You just reach for them, like I'm reaching for you.
Okay.
And then, and we'll go one more time. Inhale, nod the head. Exhale, flex up. That's the reaching for the calf, back of the calves. Stay for the inhale and uncurl the spine back down. Now, we're going to come to a seated position and do a half roll back.
Oh, that should be interesting.
I'm going to be behind you.
Okay. Because you want me to sit up there?
Yes. All right. I'm taking the block away and putting another blanket back here too. Me and the blanket are back here, but okay, I'm putting this here for a minute. Can you, yeah, you're perfect. I want you to see what it is we're gonna do. That there's just a roll behind you to give you a little support.
Okay.
All right. We're only gonna do 2 of these. It's arms parallel, and you are looking to scoop the belly. So it's not just a hinge back, it's a scoop of the belly, and you roll back, and the shoulders are releasing away from the ears. On the exhale, you roll forward. Yep. Inhale, and then roll back.
Is that right?
And then roll up to seated. And then I want to do it one more time, so I want to watch your belly. Exhale to roll back. And this one you got. Inhale to stay, and then exhale to roll back up. And then extend the legs long. I think that'll help you see. And you might want to sit on a little bit more height. Can you lift up and sit on, or fold the blanket? I'm gonna bring it here, and then when you,
You want me to sit on it?
yeah, but let me give you more height here. let me take the, if you scoot towards the windows just a little bit. Yep. Great, and then I'm gonna give you the height right there. Now, is that wide enough? You're
I'm
not
just wondering how I'm gonna do it. Okay.
Your legs do not have to be straight. You're here. I'm gonna be more like here. And we're gonna, let's start here, like this. Actually, let's start here. I think this will be easier. It's a twist. You're looking for the pelvis, and I'm gonna put my legs down because it's easier for me to put my legs down. You're looking to sit tall. Your belly is a little scooped in, so it's a little scooped in, but we're looking for the pelvis and legs to stay steady. Oh, and then we're looking to turn the upper back and look to the left, and the shoulders and the arms go too. So that the hands at the chest go like this, and then come back here to inhale at center and exhale to the right. So turn and look towards the weights, and then to come back to center. And you're training yourself to try to keep a little scoop to the belly. Do you see a scoop to the belly? And even if your knees are bent, that the muscular effort of pushing the legs down is going to help with the scoop. And if you also squeeze the block between your knees, that'll give you more support too. So that strength of the adductors. And then what you want to do is just turn slightly to the left. This is to your left. And come back to center. Use the exhale to turn to the right. Come back to center. You're looking to turn the upper back while the legs and pelvis stay steady. And then squeeze the block. Yeah. Yeah?
I think I can't do that. That's too hard to keep holding.
Okay. Where are you feeling it? Your top of your thighs? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, it's better. It's a lot of work.
You asked for it.
I did. I knew you were going to say that. I have to work on it, though.
But you're doing really well. All right. How are we doing on time?
I
can't see.
have 3:15.
Perfect. Got 15 minutes. Let me
torture me some more?
Yes, of course. I want you to sit comfortably because I'm going to show you the next thing we're going to do. Okay? So whatever is comfortable for you. All right. While you're here, perfect. While you're here, before we go to that next thing, I want you to gently press the legs into the ground, so your ankles. And if you need blocks under your knees, it looks like yoga, doesn't it? It's not. It's not yoga. It's But if you press your ankles gently into the ground, what happens is, watch. I'm exaggerating slightly. If I press my legs into the ground, it helps me draw my low belly up and also my pelvic floor. So that legs staying just enough active to help you with that, okay? While we're here, because you did that so well, I want to try this again. Yes, one more turn. So it's a turn to your left, and it's 3 little turns, and it's just the upper back turning. It doesn't go very far. And then exhale, look towards the weights or past the camera. 1, 2, 3, that's an exhale and back to center. So instead of the legs extended out for that twist, that's called a twist, use this seated position, okay? So you had done it, remember that when you look at the video, you'd done it with your legs crossed, but it was too much work on your thighs. But you can sit here. Okay. I'll show you the next piece, all right?
Okay.
I'm gonna move this slightly so you can see me more easily. Now, the aim is, of course, a little bit of abdominals, but it's also aiming at the glutes. So if you're here, watch my lower back, right at the top of my pelvis, right through that band that bothers you. If I draw my low belly in, watch. This rises slightly. Do you see that?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm letting go. And when I do this exercise, I would use way too much of my lower back, and I want to aim at my glutes. So I'm gonna exhale and draw the low belly above my belly button up, sort of like I pretend to get away from an ice cube. And then with my hands here, or wherever's comfortable, or maybe on a blanket, you lift one leg and place it back down, and then the other leg. I'm using my exhale to lift. You're thinking about the leg being pretty long and strong and trying to get a thigh off the ground, but it might not come all the way off the ground. One leg does it better than the other. We all have our little idiosyncrasies. At least that's the part about the one leg doing it better than the other. Make yours do it equally.
I got you.
It might be that using instead of having your hands here,
But I'm lying down?
yeah, when you're lying down, you can also put a blanket under your forehead. We'll see what works best for you, okay? Why don't you take your head this way,
Here.
and I'm gonna move the blankets out of the way. Do you sleep on your belly?
No, I sleep on my back.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see.
Such nice socks, Cathy says.
I know, I love
If this might or might not work for your shoulders, you can also take this under your forehead and have your arms somewhere. We'll have to work out where you're most comfortable.
Oh, that does hurt.
What hurts?
My back, where I say it hurts?
Right here. And are you able to lower your chest? Will that take some of the hurt out?
Yeah.
Okay. And then where are you going to put your arm? Are you going to leave your hands there? Is that a good place?
Where
for
would
them?
I put them?
That's a good place for them. If they're comfortable there, that's where I'd like them.
Ooh.
Now, is it still hurt?
My back, no, but it's better to move my right arm where I've got it.
Okay, good. Yeah, you gotta be where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
And let's just, I want you to, in this position first before you do anything, because right here is what we don't want to, we want to support that, and you want to draw the low belly up away from the floor as if right below the belly button there's an ice cube and you're trying to get away from it. You can use the exhale to do that, and don't think about lifting the legs. I just need to see you support that lower back.
Okay.
So exhale deeply with the sound of breath. Oh, nice, Cathy. And then release. I'm gonna bring a block between your knees, or maybe between your thighs where it'll fit easily. Now squeeze the block slightly and see if that also helps as you, on the exhale, you draw the belly up, right below the belly button. So use the exhale to draw the belly up. Nice, Cathy. And then inhale, release. And you're looking for that same low abdominal engagement you felt right below the above the pubic bone. So exhale as you draw the belly up.
Is that right?
Yeah. And then squeeze the block and then release on the inhale. Now, I'm going to take the block away so it's not overly distracting. And then if your lower back gets hot, Mm-hmm.
or hurts, stop,
Okay.
right?
All right.
First, exhale, draw the belly up. That's the most important piece. And slightly lift your right leg, aspiring to get the leg pretty straight and long. But it's the belly, 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 belly that's supporting you in that movement. And then on the next exhale, we'll go with the left. The belly rises up first, so I can see that these stripes straighten out back here. So draw the belly up on the next exhale. Oh yeah. On the exhale, draw the belly up. And you don't even need to pick up the leg very much, but just activate the leg, like stretch it long and try to get the butt cheek to lift, to fire, and then place it back down. Exhale, draw the belly up, and then the right. Inhale here, draw the belly up first, and then tighten the butt cheek and lift the left leg. Release. Exhale, remember the belly, and place that foot back down on the inhale. We'll go one more time on each side, exhaling the leg high. Inhale, lift it, lower it down. Draw the belly up first. Yep, good glutes. Yes, Cathy's access.
I worked for them.
Now, how's your back?
It's fine.
Okay, now we're changing the movement while you're here. Bend your right knee and bring your right foot towards your buttock.
Bend my right like that?
Yeah, and just, and it's just a, can you kind of see me? It's just a bit flex point.
Okay.
It's just a movement of the knee, so you're kind of waking up the muscles of the leg, and then put the leg back down. Yeah, so it's point and stretch a few times, and then the other leg. And you're just, and you're not trying to pick up the leg right now, you're just
And that increases the pressure on my back where it hurts.
Then that's a good place to stop. And then Cathy, we're gonna come up and make our way up to standing.
Oh, this will be interesting.
Take your time. Ready for chair?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to turn around?
Well, I can chair.
Okay.
The chair can move. Where would you like it? Would you like it here?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, let me get the blanket out of the way so the chair's firmly on the ground. I'm with you. So well done, Cathy.
Was it really?
Yes, it was. So we did the names of the exercises so you know. We worked on the exhale, seated in the chair, and how that influences the abdominal muscles, and you can also sort of tip your pelvis back into a strong position as a support and stretch, pleasantly stretch
Did we
back
sit
here.
and do that?
We
I
did.
sit?
And
Wow.
then we came to the floor, and you were on your back and you had your knees bent. We did the same back exhale, firm up the belly, and posterior tip to the pelvis, which is called pelvic imprint. We then lifted one leg and then both legs, and you tap the feet to the floor like a little march, and then you did a few bicycle movements.
Okay.
So that's called pelvic imprint, just challenging the abdominal muscles to stay firm while you keep the pelvis still. Then we did the half roll up, where I was asking you to reach for the calf and you kept bringing the calf to your hands. So that was called a half roll up, and that really aims at low abdominals about here. And then we did a seated position. We did the half roll back, which was more about, I actually said it backwards. The half roll up is really about moving the ribs and engaging right below the ribs, the muscles here that help you flex up. Then we did the half roll back, which was more low abdominals.
So that was the seated position where you rolled back. And I think we only did that twice, partly because I think you're pretty strong in that dimension because of the nature of your back and structure. You found those muscles pretty quickly. I think it's the muscles right below your ribs that are probably, anyway, they're all very good muscles to work with. We did do a bridge roll. I was hoping to get to some bridges, but you know how to do bridges. Then we did laying on your belly, firing the glutes by lifting a leg. But first, you protected your back by drawing this muscle in so that it wasn't, because when you lift a leg, you can arc the back by tipping the pelvis forward. And I hope but if you hold this steady, your leg doesn't go that far back, but you get much more into the glute than into here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'd be good if I could do this again before I go to Oregon.
Well, we've got the video, and I hope that.
Okay. I will.
And let's see, I'll stop the video. Yes. May it be good.